Okay, today we start with chapter 19, and the title is Vibrations and Waves. The main idea of the chapter is talking about waves. We will start with part 1, which is vibration. What do we mean by vibration? If you look at the spring below, the spring is going up and down, and it keeps moving up and down. That's called a vibration. So a vibration is just a repeating motion about its equilibrium point. Another example, look at the swing. The swing is moving back and forth and just repeating that motion. That's called a vibration. Let's take another example, a pendulum. Now a pendulum is just simply an object, a stone for example, attached to a string. Now the pendulum is moving back and forth, so it's a vibration. This is called really a simple pendulum. Now as the pendulum swinging back and forth, it takes time to finish a complete cycle. We call this time period. So a period is a time that it takes the object or the vibration to complete one full cycle. This time was studied by Galileo, and he found something very interesting. He found that the period of a pendulum depends only on the length of the string. It does not depend on the mass of the object. So the only effect is coming from the length of the string, and there's another factor which is the acceleration of the gravity, g, which is 9.8 meter per second square. So for example, if I have two masses, one is a big mass and one is a small mass, and I attach them to two strings of the same length. Now you can do this experiment, a very simple experiment at home even, and you can see that the period for both pendulums should be the same because they have the same length of a string, even though the masses are different. So let's just repeat and summarize. So a long pendulum has a longer period than a shorter pendulum. What do we mean by a longer period? It means time is larger. Now what does it mean? The period is large or long? It means that the pendulum is slower. So when period is large, this means it takes longer time to complete one full cycle, which means it is slow. A shorter pendulum will swing faster, which means the period is shorter. We can apply this to a few interesting examples. For example, humans. As we walk, our legs, think of our legs as pendulums. Now, a tall person will have a longer period than a shorter person. So this means a longer person will take slower strides as he or she walks. Same thing happens with animals. For example, giraffes or horses, they have longer legs. So they will move with a longer period, which means slower strides or steps. But shorter animals will have a faster strides. I will show you a very simple video showing a giraffe followed by some lions. Now the giraffe has long legs while the lions have shorter legs. And I just want you to watch and see the difference in the two animal strides. So to finish this part, I will ask you a few questions. The first question, which we already discussed in this part, what determines the period of a pendulum? The second question I want you to think about and to do some research. If you take a pendulum to the moon, for example, what do you think will happen to the period? Remember, on the moon, there is a gravity, but the gravity is small. So what do you think will happen to the period of the pendulum? Well, think about it, and let's talk about it in a class. Take care.